In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to transform boring blankets. My name is Stacy from trulymajestic.com. Let's get started. First of all, I have a boring white blanket and I want to do something exciting on it, so I'm going to turn it into this. If you prefer to make a plain blanket like this, you can check the description for the link. The first thing I've done is count all of my stitches and my rows and then grafted them onto this paper and then drew out my basic design. Designs don't always go the way you expect them to, so we do improvise along the way if we come into any problems. The first thing I'm going to do is put my yarn from the bottom to the top where I want to begin the tree trunk. So this is where it is on my chart. This is the very center of my blanket. I'm going to be pulling a whole ton of yarn through all the way up to the top, and then I'll show you how to do a duplicate stitch, which actually places another stitch right on top of the stitch underneath. So you have a nice kind of pop-up puffy look as well. So we're gonna go up, around, and down again. So we follow where we came out the base. We go up under the stitch above us and then around back down into the same hole, and that is a completion of a duplicate stitch, and it is lots of pulling the yarn in and out. That's just the way it is. The beauty about this design is if you get something wrong, you don't have to unravel the entire blanket to fix something. So I've puffed my stitch up and now I'm going to continue on all the way up to make a nice tree trunk. My yarn needs to come up from the base of the stitch that I want to go over. So right here is going to be the base of that white stitch. I pull up all my yarn, then I need to go up under the stitch above me, under those two little bars, and then around and back down the same hole just like I did before. Make sure you always go into the same hole you came out. It is a bit tricky sometimes because the yarn can be a bit this way and that way, and you can go down the wrong hole. That will make your blanket look wonky, and we don't want that. Now I'm just going to continue following my pattern all the way up until I get to the edges of the branches, and there is no science to this. You can break the yarn off where you want, where it goes off to the sides, and tie a knot in the back of the blanket so it doesn't come loose, and then start new yarn in different places if you don't want to keep pulling out lengths and lengths and lengths of yarn through each stitch. Now I've got my trunk done. I'm going to branch out here onto the branches, and now I'm going to do chain stitching. So I'm pulling my yarn up from the place that I want to start doing a chain top stitch, and then I'm going to be chaining it loose and then tacking it down. So we have this yarn. We need to tie a slip knot first, so just pop it into a slip knot. I'm just going to be doing a provisional chain, and I'm going to break the yarn at the end, split all of this in half. Well, first unravel it, then split it in half, and then I will be doing two branches out of this yarn. So the chain was just to see how much yarn I needed and where I needed to split it. Now I have my yarn split into two, and I'm going to be chaining each one and then tacking them down here and there. So we want to put a slip knot or just twirl it under some of the white yarn. You can do either one to begin with. And then we're going to chain, so just pull it through, pull your loose yarn through the loop, keep pulling your loose yarn through the loop until you get as far as you want, and then we're going to tack it down. Now to tack it down, you need to make a new loop under the white yarn from your original blanket, and then slip one loop over the other one. Slip the first loop over that second loop that you've done, and that tacks it down nice and tight onto the blanket, so your stitches won't be going anywhere when this blanket gets bundled and ruffled and shuffled and everything. And then this tail, you want to take it onto the other side of the blanket and just tie it in a knot onto the white yarn, and then you have a nicely made branch that stays in place, and it has a really lovely texture that doesn't show up in the camera. It's really like 3D. So you should get the idea. Now I'm just going to speed the camera up a little bit and you can watch how the rest of this goes. I just keep following my chart and I do these things, splitting the yarn, making a chain, tacking it down, and then let's see how it looks in the end. Here's what the finished blanket looks like. I haven't tied down all of my branches, so some of them are a bit loose. But this is what the end product looks like, and it's so cozy and warm. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and comment. This helps YouTube know that you actually enjoy our videos. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel where we share about food, family fun, renovating our house, arm knitting tutorials, and more. Have a fabulous day. I'm Stacy from Truly Majestic.